It's 5:08 and I'm calling to order the meeting of the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees. We do have a quorum. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
If there are no questions or comments, I will accept a motion to accept the minutes from February.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to financial report.
Here's the numbers. Still nothing super exciting going on. Interest-bearing building account increased some over last month. I did have another opportunity to calculate or to tabulate the interest that's been earned so far. So we've earned $20.15 of interest in the interest-bearing building account so far this year. And in the RS Douglas expendable, it's been $76.91. In trust fund, it's been 60 cents. The RS Douglas has a profit loss, though, that has to be calculated at the end of the year, at the end of the fiscal year. And according to Cheryl, it's likely that it's going to lose money this year because of everything that the markets are doing. But we'll find out later. I don't know yet. But we're still just kind of where we expect to be at this point in the fiscal year with our personnel and operational budgets. And those are the balances.
Okay.
Can you explain why you're spending so much money on oil? I know it's expensive, but I thought we were electric stuff now.
Some of that is oil and some of that is maintenance on the burner. Let me open up my new cash accounting software real quick. Heating. Yeah, we've had 3 fill-ups, one in January, and then 2, and then 1 in February. Basically, it was just filling up the tank once, is what we've done. But we did it at a time when, you know, the price of oil is skyrocketing. And so, but no, that doesn't affect because the price is the same. It's just, we have, I've got the Mitsubishi Hyperheat units set to keep the building at a regular 71 degrees. And then the thermostat in my office is set to 69. So if it gets below 69, then the burner kicks on and it uses the radiators to make up for the difference. So I'm guessing it's just a factor of the fact that the temperatures have been cold and they've been, you know, all over the place this winter.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we can move on to interest-bearing accounts. There's a lot of words under there.
Yeah, this is emailed this to everybody. It was Matt's memo that he sent to Danielle. So hopefully you had the chance to read it. It's basically his opinion, which he has ran by town legal counsel and communicated to Cheryl and Jean.
I read it. I'm not sure I understood it.
Or
I liked hearing the gist of it, which was that if we didn't want to get too risky, we could start getting some interest other than the bare minimum. I doubt any of us, well, I shouldn't put words in anyone's mouth, but I, for one, wouldn't do anything super risky. So it seemed like the easiest and most productive path forward would just to go ahead and, approve using the funds in these investment. I forgot what the name of the group is. The funds that can invest them without being too risky. Something with Bartholomew. Thanks.
I think I looked at that. I thought this is good.
Yeah.
We do have some discretion, so this is a positive thing, and it's up to us how we want to do it. But at least we have the go ahead now. So look at the other options. So we're not hampered by the town regulations in the same way we thought.
I went through it pretty thoroughly too, and I think we should form a subcommittee to get this off the ground, to figure it all out so that the subcommittee can then present it to the trustees as a whole, but that they've thought it all out. And that some of the things that the subcommittee could do would be meet with Cheryl, the treasurer, and find out what, in plain language, what our options are. Also, it talks about on the policies, it talks about an investment manager. I'm not sure who that is. It might be the guy from Unibank, but I'd like to see, and I'd like to serve on the subcommittee, but I would also like to see the last few financial reports, because they mention every 6 months that a financial report comes out, and see what is put in that financial report. Evan and I invest in the stock market conservatively, and we do get a financial advisory type of thing once a year. And I wonder if it's the same sort of advisory thing. I'd like to compare the two to each other. I wonder if fees and expenses that might be charged by Bartholomew are covered by the town, or do we have to cover those? I was wondering about Bartholomew versus the Mass Municipal Depository Trust, the MMDT, which some of our funds are in. That Justin knows more about that than I do. I don't think they pay much, but, and wondering if, because, and Justin had checked on this with the Board of Library Commissioners that last week, what the law was for the using money going to interest going from, like, for instance, the grant from the town for public libraries to get that after the first year you're given it, it's he was told that you have to give the rest of the money to the general fund. I mean, any interest, not the money, but any interest that you've earned on it to the general fund. So I talked to Liz, the person that Justin had talked to last week, today, and she didn't seem that knowledgeable about anything. And I said, how long's this law been in effect? Because she, or the MBLC, cites chapter 44, section 53. There's nothing about there in that section about money that is granted to you by the state has to go into the general fund paragraph, that that particular part of the law. If you keep on going down on that thing and you'll see the 53, the section 53, there's only one thing in there on 53, but then it goes 53 A, B, C, D, C, E, E and a half, E and 3/4. So there's a lot of 53s in there. So I asked, I had left a message for Liz yesterday, and then she got, when we chatted today, she said she couldn't find anything in 53, not all of the ones, but just that 53, section 53, about interest being put back into the general fund. And she'd have to ask her supervisor, but then she said, well, why don't you just call the Attorney General's office and talk to a lawyer there? So I tried doing that and found that I only could, or I could email them, that they preferred the email. So I did that. And then I got an email right back from them saying, well, it's much better if you call us. So, and at that point I had gone up to weed my grapes or trim my grapes and stuff. So I didn't get back till after 4 and called up the person. And Evan said to me, oh, you got a call from the Attorney General's office. So that surprised me because I thought, well, I'll call them tomorrow. And so I called back, but it was after 4. And so everybody's gone after 4. And so I didn't find out anything there, but that's really not to do with our interest-bearing building account. What I was thinking of as I was looking at last month's trustees accounts, I was thinking, well, why can't we put the LIG and MEG in grants, in the MMDT, not in Bartholomew, but at least get some interest growing there. And regular donations, can we put them in MMDT as well? And then put the building donations with interest in Bartholomew. But see, this is something that has to be all talked out by a subcommittee to be presented to us at our earliest convenience. So then I think we also should meet, this subcommittee should meet with Bartholomew and Cheryl, have Cheryl there and ask them questions like, well, as Justin just mentioned about the Douglas account losing money. I'm not sure how it's losing money, but because the $10,000 is $10,000 there, that doesn't lose anything. So it might be that it's not providing fund income from there. And but if you're one of the rules of the stock market is buy low, sell high. And so does this benefit us if they're in a slump right now? Do we get more shares of stuff by buying low? So those are questions we'd have to ask Bartholomew. And can we have as options for investing the same conservative way that the town uses for the stabilization fund and the OPEB stuff, which I guess is retirement type things, because that was one of the policies, the OPEB trust, that we were provided by Cheryl with. So, but can we keep it simple as Justin has mentioned here, that we don't have to have a 9-page document of our policies. We'll just say, this is what we want to do. We want to be very reckless and gamble everything, or we want to be conservative, or, that will be our policy. But I see it as only, and then after that, we'll follow whatever the town's policy is. We can state ourselves in several sentences, and that's what I see, and then just say, And we love the town, and we'll take whatever they use as wise investment stuff. Let's see. Are there any limits for accessing both deposits and withdrawals with Bartholomew? That was another question I had. And then Matt had mentioned that we need a he says, I also believe, I guess this is towards the bottom of the second page, and he puts in parentheses, you must get a qualified legal counsel to consider this. And so I don't know what that is. I don't know what qualified legal counsel is. Does that mean that we can use town council for this? And go on or what, and so that's a question to Matt, so that's what my thoughts were. That I don't know how anybody feels. You all look like you're ready to take a nap.
Well, I have concern that was brought up in Matt's response, and that is that he talks about where you take a little more aggressive role, you also take a risk of losing money. Is that something that we're ready to do?
Well, I think it depends on what he says there. I don't think we take that aggressive role. I think we would.
Okay, then I have another question.
Exactly
okay,
what.
Ellie, why are we doing this? How much more money are we going to make by doing this?
Quite a bit more.
Do you have a number?
Well, look at the Douglas account, $10,000, and how much did they? That was just $10,000, but. Where's your report that you earn in the Douglas account last year? Interest was $44.21, and then this year it's up to $76.91, which is a lot more than in my mind, and that's only for $10,000.
That was my question.
And we have what in our have 10,000 in our. I only have the paper one here. I can't see this.
Okay.
Because
questions.
Justin's not moving it. Yeah.
Oh, can you not see what I'm doing?
I can see what you're doing. I just can't see what
You just broke up.
Yeah,
really bad.
that's better.
So
an amount of 40,000, so $76 times 4 is that much more. And we are only getting $20 right now. So that's quite a bit more, I think.
It's not a whole lot, but it's at least keeping pace with inflation. I guess you could say that.
We earned $76.91 on 10,000 so far this year. That, if we were earning a commensurate amount of money or if we were getting a commensurate amount of interest from the building donations with interest account, it would be around $313.69 so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like that much, but like I said, at least it's keeping pace with inflation, and I think there's some merit in that.
And we're talking a few years, right? We're not going to be doing this in 6 months.
Not barring an act of God, no.
And then we won't be around anyway. So what do we care? Neither will be the library.
How long are we talking here? 20 years? I hope not.
Well, I hope it's not within a year. I don't, I hope Russia doesn't come
Oh,
cuckoo.
yeah.
Yeah. Right, with a cyber attack, right?
But yeah, my impression after talking to Cheryl was that if the trustees just wanted to move to, like right now, if the trustees wanted to move to, authorize her to invest in individual securities, stocks, and bonds with Bartholomew, basically do the same thing with this money that was being done with the building donations with interest account. Now she has the go ahead to do it, and that could be done. So, I mean, I don't know if y'all want to do that, or if y'all want to, take a committee approach and come up with a motion later.
We could do this immediately.
Kate, are you there?
Oh, yep,
Kate,
I'm here. Yes.
so you're in charge. Unless you want me to take over.
Oh, because
So-
we're on the subcommittee?
I'm definitely not on the subcommittee.
No, I'm just,
We dissolved the
no,
subcommittee.
there's no subcommittee here, I don't think.
No, there's been no motion for a subcommittee. That was just
No,
my thoughts
absolutely
initially.
not.
That's what my
Kate,
thought
but
process
you're in
was.
charge. I would
Meeting.
entertain a
Yes.
motion to go with Cheryl's investment strategy.
Oh, my goodness, that's too quick to do something like that. I think we really have a responsibility not to put any donation money in
Okay,
something that
hang
could.
on, Betty. We need a second. First of all,
You-
we
who
need to
mo-
entertain a
Who
motion.
moved that? You?
No, I said I would entertain a motion. So if
And
someone
did
wants-
anyone?
We didn't get a chance yet.
Oh,
I would move to proceed with that discussion.
Okay, do I have a second?
So what was the motion?
To go with what Cheryl is suggesting, or go with her.
So from my understanding, all right, so we can, if we want
Can we
to.
get, we just have to get a second on that, and then we can discuss.
We seconded it. I heard a second.
I did.
Okay, all right, so now, open the floor to discussion.
Okay.
Betty was first. Betty had something to say first.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to say it before the motion became in there. To me, that's really too rapid without looking into anything to just tell Cheryl to do that. I'm concerned with what Justin said earlier, that some fund had lost money, but I think we have a responsibility to put any kind of donation money where it cannot possibly lose money. No stocks and securities. CDs, whatever. I'm sorry, it's not much interest. When we used to have Vanguard, I didn't think it was risky, but I think the only reason you need to hire that lawyer that you were mentioning is if you get to the part where you have to inform every person who donates that you're going to invest in a possible risky investment. And right now, people who donate don't think we would do that with their money. The town may do that, but people aren't volunteering their money to the town. They're required by taxes to give it. We have people that are offering money.
Right.
I think we have a responsibility to make sure that their $20 does not become 19. It just does not make sense.
I agree.
The other thing is, I'm not sure how easy, I think Ellie mentioned it, it is if we need to get it out of, say we need to get a plan out of that building donation, $30,000 for cost of plans or something. How easy is it to get it out? But I think to make a motion to have Cheryl put it into stocks is just way ahead of the discussion. There were 5 options there, and all of a sudden we've got Cheryl stocks and securities
No,
without
Betty,
discussing
Betty,
anything else.
Betty, this is how the meetings, open meeting rules go. So you make a motion, so now we know exactly what we're discussing. So that's what we're doing. And you made some very excellent points. I think you made some really good points.
So the question that I have is, if we were to go ahead and put the funds into something similar that's being done by the town, is that I'm assuming can be changed whenever we need to. You know, we decide it's losing money or it's not what we thought it was, we can change our mind, so to speak. We can do it, go a different route.
Were we talking about Bartholomew specifically, or just in what the town is doing? Where we would just go ahead and place it for now.
If we talk to, I don't have it in front of me right now, but we did talk to Bartholomew. I think, Barbara, you might have been at that meeting.
Yes.
And,
I think I was in
or
Fincom.
Betty was, okay, I was.
I was there, yeah. I think I was.
And I think Joe was there, I remember, and they gave us these pretty, that's not it either, green books. In the back of them, it showed how many towns invested or put their stuff like stabilization fund and OPEB. These are not risky, and from what I remember them talking about, they don't put it in risky stuff.
Right.
You know, you just, that's not what you want to do.
Right.
But generally that type of a fund, from my experience, you can do, you know, moderate or low risk, but it's not
Yeah.
usually touchable for a while. But I don't think that's an issue in this case, right? We're not going to be touching it for at least a few years.
Mhm.
Mm.
But
Well,
if
if
we
we need
take
to
I mean,
bring
there's
up,
a list of,
Betty brought up a point, though. What if we need $30,000 for a set of plans or whatever? How hard would that be to get our hands on?
Well, there would usually, isn't the worst case is you lose some of the interest, but you can get the money out.
Right,
that's the point. We don't know.
well, that's the point of talking with Bartholomew with these types of questions.
right.
If
Yep.
we're not
No,
ready
the-
to support the motion that's on the floor right now, vote it down and
Right.
The
we can-
motion
well, we
is
can
for
table the
Cheryl to,
motion. We
What?
we can table the motion until we get more information from Bartholomew. If that's what the
But is
trustees
that
want.
is that one and the same thing as what Cheryl is doing in Bartholomew, or is it a different thing?
that's what she does now.
there's,
That's
Okay.
what-
different
All right.
options.
Yeah, that's where our RS Douglas fund money is.
Okay,
And even if we were to like approve her to do this with our account, we would have to like word the motion very precisely before we
Right,
actually vote on
right.
it.
No, I just entertained that motion just to get the discussion open and be on record. I have no intention of coming to a decision tonight.
I'd like to make to Betty's point. Yes, in fact, our $20 is now 19. You know, that's happening. So I do think that time is of the essence here, and trying to hold on to the funds we have.
Yeah,
I didn't mean inflation. I meant risking money. I didn't mean because it will have less value.
I know, but but that is in fact also true.
It is true, but it's not what I meant. I meant risk of getting back less than you put in. I understand it would be worth less because of inflation, but I meant the actual number getting back less than you put in.
Betty, I know you meant that. I'm saying that it's happening even on
True. Right.
Current circumstances. Okay, so both same result. We have, it's just, our point I was trying to make is that we shouldn't wait too long to make a decision.
Now,
I
the
agree.
Douglas
I have to
Fund,
agree with Barbara.
Pardon?
I agree with Barbara. I'm
is there
sorry,
any
Patty.
chance that that Douglas Fund can lose money? Can it lose money, or can it only get varying interest?
I don't know. I think the principal can shrink because
Don't
the
think so.
is what has happened. What's going on with the RS Douglas Fund is it's $10,000 that we have lumped in with a whole bunch of other stuff that the town has invested with Bartholomew, because you can't invest that way. And with
Oh.
$250,000. So Cheryl
Yep.
keeps track of it all separately. And so it's invested, in, like stocks, securities, and these kinds of things. And so the principal balance that is invested can shrink if the value of the shares shrinks. I don't know if it would be made up for with the dividends and whatnot. To be frank, a lot of this is over my reading level, and I don't know. I think it's possible, but I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
it's possible, but not probable.
I guess I thought Douglas 10,000 was just invested on its own, and it only made interest, and that's what we spent. I didn't.
Yeah.
I
me
thought it
too.
was in that kind of an account separate from all this. So
And it gets more complicated because this $10,000 is invested, but the expendable part is also invested. So, I mean, that can be withdrawn and spent, the $2,137.95, but as long as we're not spending it, it's also earning along with that 10,000, if that makes sense.
No.
But at what, Justin, so it will not go below the initial investment. Do you know that?
really,
There's no guarantee there.
I
is there?
don't know that. It would have to lose, $2,137.95 before it went below the initial investment.
Okay.
So when you say it's that Cheryl said that it is losing money this year, what does that mean?
Well, they don't.
Or can you find
at
it
the end
out?
of the year? At the end of the year, they calculate like the profit loss on everything. So I think that like the $76.91 interest that we've earned so far is like from the dividends and from the increases. And I don't know how all that stuff works, but then at the end of the year, if the valuation of the principal and how it, has been invested, in its individual stocks and whatnot is lower than it was, then some of that might disappear. Because you always want that to be $10,000 at the end of the year. So if they have to use interest earned on dividends to buy back some of the value of the stocks, I think that's what happens there. But then again, like I'm not 100% certain. I think I understand how it works, but I'm only like 60% sure.
So the basic investment is always preserved, is what you're saying.
Okay.
I
With
think
60%
it is,
certainty.
not really. If it didn't earn any interest, it wouldn't be.
I'm talking about the basic, if the basic print, the basic investment is preserved.
Exactly, right. That would bring up Betty's point again, where someone's $20 donation suddenly becomes $19. And we don't want that to happen. It's not that it doesn't become $21. It's that we don't want it to lose anything.
But
Is
how
that-
can you, how can you ever guarantee that?
CDs,
No, if this is going to lose money, CDs they'll pay like 0.0000000.
1.1% right now. They're
yeah, but they don't
1.1%.
lose money.
Yes, they do it in effect because of inflation. So
That's true.
that same money is worth less because
Yeah,
things
nothing's going to
cost
keep up
more.
with inflation right
And
now.
it ties it up for 3 years, isn't it? Something like that?
No, there's a 10.
No, you can get it
Goldman
out
Sachs-
whenever you want.
Goldman Sachs has a 10-month CD right now for 1.1%.
Great. That's 6% behind inflation.
Right. So I'm just saying,
So we're
that's,
But
losing,
it can't-
that's what's out there.
we're losing buying power every day.
Right now,
But you-
everything's very inexpensive too. Everything's gone down, right? So it's worth more to buy it at the moment.
Right. That's buy low, sell high.
Mhm.
That's the goal. A lot of people went broke that way.
So subcommittee?
Well, I think there's still a motion on the floor, isn't there?
There
Daniel?
is, okay. I would suggest we table that motion until next meeting for further discussion and what's the word I'm looking for? Checking things out. Investigation. How does that sound?
I'm fine with waiting till next week to vote on it, but we should still have a plan of action as to what are we doing in the next 4 weeks. How are we getting more information?
Exactly, right. Okay,
So I'm not sure if that's, I think at one point Ellie had mentioned having a meeting with Cheryl or someone from the town. I don't
Well, I
know
was
if that,
saying have
I'm
a-
willing to do that.
I was saying
Depending on
have
the
a
schedule.
subcommittee that would be
We
willing
form a
to.
subcommittee, you know, a subcommittee can chat and do things without having to, you know, wait for a monthly trustee meeting.
Okay,
They can
So
have
did-
conversations and emails without being in violation of open meeting law.
we can.
Yes.
I thought whenever 2 or more people converse, it was considered a meeting, not to paraphrase anyone. When 2 or more are gathered.
there's love.
But that's not, I mean, if we officially move to form a subcommittee to do this, that's no more than, I don't know, 3 people?
Right, yep,
Yeah. That would be fine. So those 3 people can chat and figure out a strategy. But
Okay.
if you and I meet, Danielle, then that's ethically wrong,
right,
naughty,
yes.
without being
Absolutely.
authorized by
And
the
I
church.
can't even talk to you when I see you on the street.
Yeah, I know. That's why you never talk to me.
We won't go down there. Oh, I would always talk to you, Ellie, when I saw you.
Okay, so who else wants to volunteer for the subcommittee besides Ellie?
I'm willing to work on that. Whatever help I can be. I don't know how much I can be.
Well, it would be, I think, chatting
Can
with
you do it since you're the chair?
Cheryl and chatting with Bartholomew.
Well,
Okay.
David just said
And
he
then
will.
Dana says he will do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
all
right,
right,
so
there's
there's
3.
3.
Good.
And we'll have a
Hey, Dana, right on.
Impressive.
Yay.
All right. So does that need to be a motion to form a subcommittee with Ellie, Dana, and Danielle to investigate investment procedures before the next meeting and present a?
Well, not before the next meeting, to investigate. Hopefully it will be done. Maybe we could have a special meeting, you know, in 2 weeks or something like that. I
We
like
can
to
try.
hurry things along.
No, I understand. We can try.
This is
So
municipal.
to investigate,
Fast.
All right, so we just need a motion to allow the subcommittee or create the subcommittee.
for the interest, for what's it called, this?
Investigate
um,
options, with the research options.
Yeah, that sounds good. Investment options.
Investment options. Options. Okay, I'll move that.
Second,
All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, so we will form the subcommittee to investigate investment options quickly. Are we good?
Mhm.
Director's report?
All right, I will try to make this fast. We've had some stragglers come in for the Valentine book adoption mega fest, which happened in February. So we've had 11 books adopted. Foot traffic in the library has definitely ticked up in March. It's been, about 2 years since we've had days where we can say, we're honest to God, genuinely uncomfortably busy, but we've had a couple of them. The reactions to the budget presentation to Fincom after last month's meeting were very positive. I don't anticipate any issues with the budget. I did ask for an additional $2,000 to cover longevity bonuses. With Rebecca back, we've been working down in the archive. We put together a newer desk for her. She's got $3,000 of donated money. And I told her she needed to go shopping because so far every year we've been getting $1,000 donated for archival use, and we haven't really been using it. So we should, improve the archive. We were going to replace the shelves in the basement with the one I got from Grafton, but we did a whole lot of math on how we could arrange the floor and lay everything out. And our best option is going to be repair what we've already got down there. So we're going to do that on Thursday. It's going to be workshop day at the library. Spring story time begins April 25th. We have a new dog, Gabby, for our Thursday night reading to the dog program. Also, I'm hoping to get weekly music and movements started back up soon. The YMCA Community Partnership reached out. Their grant money is available again, so they can pay for it up until June 1st. And then either the Friends could keep it going in the meantime, or we could use, Carrick funds. We've done both in the past. But I'm eager to have that back. And just a few random things. I don't know if any of y'all have kept an eye on the news as to what's gone on in Millbury, but
Yeah.
yes, yes.
so basically Jeff, who used to be a trustee at the Millbury Library, is a friend of mine, and he's sort of championed this cause, on Facebook. He writes a newspaper column as well. And so some people stole some LGBTQ books from the collection in Millbury and then made a big to-do about how they thought that it was not appropriate for the library, so they're not going to bring it back. So he started like an initiative to replace the books and, get funding to, buy more. And so now he's got like 50 copies of each one of those. So he's sending them out to friends and to neighbors. So we've our collection of LGBTQ literature has grown.
That's great.
Nice.
And also something I wanted to talk about is a bit of a sea change that's underway both nationally and locally in the library ethics field. And it's it's kind of part and parcel of this war we're in with publishers right now and how they're price gouging libraries for access. But, like one of the cheapest ways for us to connect people with digital resources is through things like the Overdrive Advantage program, where it's a cost per circ. model. A lot of libraries use Hoopla, which does kind of what Canopy does, but it does it for audiobooks and books and whatnot. And so basically, you know, we live in an era right now where there's basic facts are, you know, politically charged and fraught with, you know, people's opinions on things. We also live in a world where it is very, very easy to self-publish or get a vanity press to pick up whatever smut you have written and put it online. And, you know, what we've kind of taken to calling Hoopla and Overdrive Advantage is like, you know, just pulling up the garbage truck and just dumping it all in, you know, and letting people take out what they want. But, you know, there was some the Library Freedom Caucus and, you know, Worcester Public Library especially has been really leading this charge, because if you get into, like, if you search for things in Hoopla, you will find neo-Nazi propaganda, you will find flat earth stuff, you will find anti-vaccination stuff, you will find, you know, people who believe publishing books about how birds are not real but are government spy drones, and this stuff is making it into library collections, you know. And so there's been kind of a shift in the role of librarians now, because, you know, we've always strove to be neutral. You know, we don't want to be censors. We don't want to be political. But the ALA, the MLA, CWMRs is kind of, you know, saying we're not neutral anymore. And, you know, that's, it's becoming a new rallying cry. You know, libraries can no longer be neutral, because if we do, we're going to end up, you know, spending public money to connect, you know, taxpayers, our library patrons, with unreliable information. So, you know, publishers are picking this stuff up because it's potential money, it's no overhead, and, you know, it doesn't have the same kind of barrier to entry that print publishing did. You know, if you have some sort of wild out there cockamamie idea, you know, it's a lot harder to get a book published than it is to, you know, publish your own thing online, have it picked up by a publisher, and then before you know it, it's in Hoopla. So librarians are kind of getting called out right now for censorship, but, you know, at the same time, we don't want to be, I mean, we would not have a copy of Mein Kampf on the shelf, which has which is rewritten to be a neo-Nazi recruitment tool. But I mean, that's precisely what we're finding in these digital collections. So, you know, we're going to have to engage in a little bit of curation there.
There are a couple of things, you know, there appear to be national movements to take books from library shelves, to ban books. And something that's been going on for probably a century more. But there's a new movement nationally to do this, and we've seen it locally. The other thing is that people have been, you know, self-publishing romantic novels for a long time too. What I didn't know is what you're saying here. I didn't realize that libraries are carrying that stuff. I thought libraries vetted what they, you know, what they carried, and legitimate publishers. Now you're saying all of a sudden the self-publishing world is there are a lot of those books to be putting on library shelves. That was news.
Right. Yeah.
I remember, and I've been retired for 12 years now, but in Sturbridge, that one of the pages wrote and it was digital. She wrote a digital book, could buy it online, but we said, that's great. Was it just being put on her college application that she is a published author or what, you know? So I did not read the book. So
and you didn't put it in your collection, right?
No. Well, no, digital wasn't like it is today. No, back then it wasn't.
But why isn't digital being vetted the same way a hardbound book would
I don't know. Do the review magazines have reviews of digital stuff that is not in print?
You know, most of the time it comes back to the models, because if I buy a one copy, one use model, I've bought that model. But if I enable Overdrive, or in case of the libraries that use Hoopla, I don't use Hoopla, and for precisely this reason. But, you know, like Hoopla is, you know, they sold libraries on the fact that we curate this for you. You don't have to waste your staff time, you know, going through and, you know, enabling titles one by one by one by one. The vendor is supposed to have a direct relationship with the publishers so that they are taking in, you know, material of merit. They're supposed to be the people vetting this.
The
And
publishers?
they're not the publishers, the vendors like Overdrive and Hoopla.
Mhm.
Oh, that's self-interest.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
And Amazon.
I thought the normal way it worked, and it might be totally naive here, obviously, is that the book merited publishing, and the audio and the digital versions of it maybe simultaneously, but there's, you know, underlying merit to the publication.
right.
In
But
print.
what Justin has said, everything has changed now. So, I mean, that first sentence, which I can't see anymore on your little bit about the start of this conversation, a sea change has come.
That's
But
not the description.
it's, you know, very recent too. I mean, I'd say within the last year or two.
So my thought is,
But
where,
it's not,
you know,
it's not something that's going on.
my thought is where people see the sensational headlines of libraries are, you know, censoring books. I think we need to keep in mind that, you know, half truth and half fiction kind of thing, to understand and spread the word about, yeah, this is exactly what's going on. Of course, then you get people who are going to say, well, that's perfectly fine. We should be able to, you know, do all those things. So I don't know.
It's an issue of, you know, like we choose what's in our collection. We curate what's in our collection.
Yeah.
But in the digital world, you subscribe to a service, you know, like Canopy. I don't control what they put in Canopy. I just subscribe to the service.
This is true.
I
You're
don't
right.
control what they put
Yeah.
in Hoopla.
Right.
And, you know, in Overdrive, I control it to a degree, but, you know, I am used to once a week going in and just enabling every license that's under $4 a pop.
Mhm.
And it's dangerous to do that now because, you know, every week, you know, it's just pulling the garbage truck up to the collection and dumping it in. And, you know, it generates circulations because, I mean, like I can add, you know, 20,000 new titles to the collection every week, pretty easy.
Wow.
But I mean, at the same time, it's crap. And
Yeah, exactly.
some of
Right.
it is objectionable crap. I mean, like I have no problem with people reading crap. I read tons of crap. Crap is great. Sometimes you just want a big bowl of crap to read.
One person's crap is another person's classic. So,
But you know, there's crap that passes the vetting process, and there's crap that doesn't. You know.
Yeah, there's beach reading, and then there's like, yeah. But
There's
this,
deep reading, and then there's the Earth is flat, and we never landed on the moon. I mean,
well,
and you know, we just don't read that stuff.
but Justin, what also is going on around the country is that people borrowing books from libraries and not returning them as a statement. Now, that has nothing to do with the digital world. That is a physical thing, right? People are saying you should not. This is a book you curated. People take it out and won't return it. That's different. And I would understand about the digital subscription services, but that is not necessarily a reflection on what the Douglas Library content and shelves. Isn't that different?
I just want to make
people
sure
are going
we
to
don't
the
have in our collection potentially harmful materials. So I'm going to have to start, you know, keeping an eye more on what I enable, which is just an awkward place to be in. And it's a place I haven't been in for a long time.
Yeah.
But you can't curate the online stuff in Hoopla, but you can what's physically in the library.
Yes.
Right.
And I can curate Overdrive too. I've just got to start taking a more active role in what I enable instead of enabling everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
But it's just one of those
Yeah.
interesting little philosophical bits, you know, because I mean, libraries have always been activists,
Right.
but, you know, never, I mean, libraries have never before existed in a world where, you know, you have a significant number of people saying, you know, facts don't matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It makes the hiring of your library director even more important.
Right on.
Yay. All right. So let's move on.
Well, wait, I just have one thing I wanted to say when you were talking about Rebecca, that at the Capitol meeting, the building inspector had come up. I missed it when the town clerk came, but I missed that meeting. But the building inspector was wanting to scan all the documents on the second floor of the municipal center, which are being stored in the old preschool thing that was up there. And there are a lot of building things. So I think what he was asking the Capitol Committee for was a scanner, a big scanner that could scan all of this stuff in. And he said it's, you know, important to archive all of this. So when he said the word archive, I thought we have an archivist. And what concerned me, and I mentioned it a second time at our meeting this past Monday, is that, and because then at that point the town clerk stuff was on the docket, you know, the whole thing. So I was able to read back on the minutes of what the town clerk had requested. And I think she was requesting, I can't remember what it was, a safe for some documents, and also somehow saving these things that are, you can't even, that by law you have to save, but are no longer, you can't flip the pages of. So I said, gee, you should, you know, get those made digitally into something. But I said the library has an archivist, a smart cookie, and it would be really sad if, you know, the town clerk goes in her direction and the building inspector goes in his direction, and the trained archivist is no longer, you know, needed for figuring out how to organize all this information, even though it might be, you know, plans for, and also, I mean, even the stuff of that the assessors do for listing all the land and stuff like that in town. But it would be nice to centralize with somebody that knows what they're talking about with being an archivist, how to catalog this stuff, to find it again, you know. So I emphasized it was important to be consistent in the way these things were done. And so that, I just want to throw that out. I did mention it to Rebecca when I saw her on last Saturday. And so, and I think I mentioned it to Justin too. So anyway, that was a big, you know, pinch to me of, okay, you know, this sounds dangerous for the town to go in all different sorts of directions in this. That's all.
Okay. Can we move on to the circulation report?
Circulation was much better in February than it was in January. Still not up to pre-pandemic levels, but I think in March we will see that it will be, because March has been busy.
Yeah, I see that. Very good. Okay, moving on to old business. Under building projects, the handicap access using ramps.
So nestled under that is Gary Moyer's proposal, which actually probably won't have anything to do with ramps because I'm not sure he's a big fan of ramps. But Dick Skinner was reaching out to architects. Gary Moyer he's on the chairman of the board of the Whitens Community Center. He is familiar with municipal construction and architecture. He's doing a project in Uxbridge with their school. But there's not really anything to talk about yet. He came, he looked at us. I told him, what our scope was, according to, our website, showed him the Socrat plans, and Dick Skinner showed him his model. And I showed him the Van Hoor's designs and gave him a copy of that. So he has all the measurements and everything. And what he's going to send us eventually is a menu of proposals so that we can kind of like pick and choose from them and, see what potential paths there are for putting together some plans that would not be like official engineering documents to the degree that Van Hoor has created, but they would be more than what Aaron Socrat grew up. And from what he draws up, we would be able to hire a professional estimator to give us a reliable estimate for the finished project that we want.
Okay.
That's
All right.
great.
So I'll wait to hear from that.
Eventually, he will tell us what he can do, how much it'll cost, and we can decide whether we're interested or not.
Sounds good.
What is a professional estimator? I've never heard of that
I've never
profession
either.
before.
Someone who takes the architectural plans and drawings of the scope that Gary's going to draw up, and they know how to estimate the price of stuff. So the price of labor and material that would go into
Right.
doing what we want to accomplish.
So does that, when the town says, spend money on the plans and stuff like that, but so what is Gary doing, and what is his professional, you say he's on the board of the community center, but what does he do for a profession?
He's an architect.
He's an architect.
He is an architect?
Oh, yes, well known in Uxbridge. I know him.
Okay.
He
Okay,
seemed
that's
super
good.
nice. He got what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the library accessible for as cheap as we can. He said there's no way we're going to be able to do something without coming up to 100% compliance immediately, because anything we do is going to be more than 30% of the building's assessed value. He did say $400,000 was probably an extremely low estimate of what needed to be done in order to make that happen, but we'll just have to see.
Yep, that's it.
If his prices are good, then we can chat with him. We can tell him what we want, and kind of have an a la carte approach to we want this here, that there,
Right.
all that jazz, and get something drawn up that's a bit more substantial than what we have, because that's what we keep coming up against whenever we go to BFCC or
Exactly.
Like, you don't have an estimate because you don't have a plan. So if it's
My
possible
question is,
for cheap, that is going to carry its value and give us a goal, then it might be worth the investment.
so what is the difference between near and mid-future? Yeah, I'm looking for numbers. Near future in a month, mid-future in a year.
Within
Several
a couple
years.
months, I think.
Oh, for him.
Yeah, for him.
I at Capitol this past Monday, we were chatting about all the things that would go on the FY FY23 capital budget. And on the list was, the library was not on the list, but that's because it's for the future. And but on the list was the highway garage, which hasn't even been discussed yet, and as well as the police station, which they've been talking, figuring out what they want. Is it a police station? Is it a safety complex? Is it include the highway or doesn't include the highway? And for the highway barn, they just said to be determined, money to be determined. But I said, that's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen in FY23. So why is this on the list? Why is the police station on the list for $10 million? It's not been designed even. So it's a guess, a stab. And then why is not the library on the list? I mean, it's the same thing. It's a to be determined placeholder in the future. And so then after discussing it a bit, I think it was, they supported it. They supported putting the library onto the list because it was a big capital item, just like the fire station or the police station and the highway barn. So, phew.
Wow.
Jesus.
Good.
Good.
Right.
Unbelievable. Okay. Under other. Electrical systems, etc.
So I'd
so
like to
we-
make a motion that we accept
Oh, I'm sorry.
Matt Wojcik's solicitation of bids, the one that he recommends, this one from Northeast Construction Inc., that the trustees accept that. He emphasized that it's important that we are the ones.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion?
This is where we have the one bid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think we should go for it.
Yep, I agree.
The funny thing is, it's 38,950.
A lot
And
lower than you thought, right?
The reason we had to go out to bid is because we could not find a multiple contractor solution that was less than $50,000. So
Right.
I love it.
All good.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid.
So move.
Already had one.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, that was an easy one. Other. Under grants, capital campaign.
another couple $100. 31.6% instead of 31.5.
All right.
Very good.
I was going to wait till Friends, but since we're talking about capital, we did get the only person that's used the online stuff through, I can't remember what it is Kate. What do you use when you become a member of the Friends? Is that PayPal or something like that?
Is it PayPal? Yeah, I guess it is PayPal. Yeah.
Well, Kate's the only one that's taken advantage of it. But I got another Friends membership through it. And then I got this past weekend a donation to the building fund. It's not $1 million, so don't get too excited, but they were complimenting Deb Soderman's story hours and stuff like that. And
Nice.
so that was really nice, I thought. And
Very nice.
I forgot to tell Deb this, but it was that this donation was made because of her.
Oh,
Very
did it say who it was
nice.
from?
Yeah, I do know who it's from, but I don't know if I should say it online. I don't think that's.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
I'll tell you, because I have to send them a thank you anyway. I haven't done that yet. And it's still on my, somewhere.
Maybe you can email it to us.
Okay, yeah, I can.
All right, awesome.
Well, I mean, we also get other donations too. It's not just, but this is the only one that's used, that PayPal link. That's
That's nice. That's good.
yeah.
Good thing. Okay, under other.
I'm planning on applying for a Mass DEP grant. It's called a Reduce, Reuse, Repair Micro Grant to create a library of things. We already circulate some things, but we've never created an official library of things. We do hotspots, ukuleles, e-readers. And once I get, that shelving from Grafton sorted out and try to find a place to put it, get some, cleaning out done, try to find some place to put some stuff. What I would like to do is have more things that we circulate. Just random things. If you go into the Sutton Library, next to the door, they have like a little catalog of, and they've just got like laminated sheets which describe what the things are. So they don't have like all the things out on display, but you can like flip through a little book and be like, I can check out this projector. I can check out this, heat loss thermal detector. I can check out this electricity wattage meter. There's just random things that you can check out there. Binoculars, telescopes, things like that.
Cool.
But you wouldn't be using your book budget, would you?
No, that's what the grant would be for.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, fine. Or
Nice.
do you get donations too?
Because in theory, they'll fund up to $5,000 of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Great.
Good.
And then if people wanted to donate more things to the Library of Things,
Right.
I could do a little survey to find out what people want in their Library of Things.
Excellent.
That'd be very
Yeah.
cool.
Good
I don't want to
chance
go down
for
the cake pan route because that's just a black hole, but
The what route?
cake
Cake
pans. Everyone keeps telling me, like libraries are circulating cake pans. Why don't you circulate cake pans? I'm like, because they're cake pans. And this is a
Why would
library.
you do that? That's weird.
No, I know. Well, I used to do a lot of programming at the Dudley Library. And back then, this was a few years ago, that was one of their big draws, was they had all these fancy cake pans that you could take out. Like if you needed a turkey cake pan or a Easter bunny cake pan or some crazy shaped cake. And the women would be like, and I'm not being politically incorrect, because it was every time I was there, it was just women who were looking at them and saying, oh, I need to find this kind of thing. So it actually was a big draw. But I understand, Justin, if that's not your thing. That's okay. I'm okay with it.
I mean, it's a food thing, I mean.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. And it was in a little that was way before all this other stuff has been happening. So yeah, you're right. I hear you. Okay, let's move on to LRP updates. Furniture.
I don't have any LRP or furniture updates.
All right, friends.
Nothing's new. We're just still, it's dropped off quite a bit, the number of memberships coming in or renewal of memberships. So there's still room for some of us. I did finally send my check in. So
well, I encourage everyone here who hasn't yet.
The PayPal button's really easy.
It is. It is.
So, and we're gearing up for our annual meeting next. It will be the last Saturday of the month next month. in April.
Okay. Very good. Other old business. New business. I do have one thing under new business. I'm pretty sure I emailed everybody about the library legislative days
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
It's a great time to let our senator and representative who's been doing photo ops and et cetera, let's put their feet to the fire and see what they plan to do to help out Douglas. So I believe the Central Mass is April 6th, I think. So check your
April 6th.
email for that. Or you can go on the library website. I'm sure you can find it. I
Are
encourage
these
everybody.
virtual or are they in person?
They're virtual. Yep. Yep. No, I remember the legislative days when I lobbied for early childhood and family health, tromping through all of the offices and on Beacon Hill. Yeah, no, we don't have to do that now. It's all virtual. So,
I missed the in-person legislative days.
well, I did in a way. There were years when we had some big rallies and things like that and stuff, but I can deal with
I
it.
don't miss in person much of anything.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither.
I'm getting, yeah, and the older I get, the more I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
you
get
come
too
in person
virtual
as
long.
we're all online here.
Yeah, well, you can
Yeah.
virtually remember how I looked 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, you can always block out the camera. All right, so the new business. Hearing none, our next meeting date is April 26th. Are we still on Zoom?
They haven't told us otherwise, so.
Okay, very good,
All right, at 5 p.m.
sweet. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Well, that's a lovely picture. Second,
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.